fall will arrive in August. The Joshua Tree Boutique on the Court Square in Princeton.
1580 103.3 WPKY. And of course, we're talking to Marley Oliver this morning with Coffee Talk. And now tell us the name of your farm again.
Freedom Farms.
I wanted to make sure that I said that right. But today, the main reason I had her come in is because of the Mustang Challenge. And now this is something that is the one that we're talking about. Is this a Kentucky Mustang Challenge, or is this a nationwide?
Well, it is nationwide, but it was supposed to be hosted at the horse park in Lexington, Kentucky. And we didn't get to make it thanks to COVID.
Well, I'll tell you, this is not the first year for it. This is something that is becoming, I think, much more popular and widespread. Mm-hmm. And I love that, though. I mean, these Mustangs, this is the real deal. This is not, somebody went and got somebody's pet and brought it in and you had to do something with it. This is the real deal Mustang. Yeah. So explain to someone who doesn't know, where do these Mustangs come from?
Well, for instance, Rain come from Antelope Valley, Nevada. The government has them round them up. Like this coming year, they have to round up 20,000.
Wow.
Just because of the herd management, the pastures getting low, these horses are out there basically starving. Because there's so many. They're overpopulated. In the wintertime, there's not enough food where they live. So they're rounding them up. And a lot of people think that's a bad thing. But these horses are going into holding pens and being fed and not having to work for food and not dying of starvation. So a lot of people don't see it like that. And if they would just go and ask somebody that is a little bit more knowledgeable, maybe we'll have a new understanding of it.
Well, the cool thing I think about these, when you think about it now, when we start talking about Rain and what she does in a minute, I think everybody's going to be amazed as I am. I think it's so neat because of the kind of horse that they are. They're so unique and special to begin with. But she was born, just to give everybody a mental picture, Rain was born in the wild.
Yes.
She was feral for all intents and purposes.
Well, she was feral until 2018. They captured her in 2018. The reason she got in the Extreme Mustang Makeover is because she was a little older and she had already been through 3 adoptions. She had been overlooked. And this total group of horses that we was signed were just harder horses, period. They were all older. They were age mares. A lot of these people couldn't even get these horses. Some horses just aren't 100-day horses.
Right.
So, these people, these horses were tough. And for the people that finished and, got their videos submitted and everything, I commend them because it was not easy. I do recommend getting younger ones, just because they're a little easy. But like I said, she was in the wild until 2018.
So how old was she?
She's 6. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you weren't starting with a colt or anybody looking for another mama or anything.
Yeah.
This is a mare with an attitude.
Yeah, all of these mares already pretty much had foals on the ground and, had babies. If not in the holding facility, they already had babies out in the wild. I know she's had a baby. So they were kind of stuck in their ways. It was definitely a challenge.
And these are also horses that hadn't seen a vet yet either.
They do and they don't. They all, the government recommends them to have coggins. So anywhere they go, they have to have coggins. And then they do have their feet trimmed. But it's obviously not like, normal feet trim.
Right.
But they do get their feet trimmed once a year and stuff like that just to help them maintain, since they're standing in holding facilities and not able to wear off their hooves like normal.
Well, but in the wild, she's not able to go get a manicure.
Oh, no.
I mean, that's
no.
That's not something she's been doing. She's not giving those neat little carrot treats and all those apple biscuits and getting her feet done. I mean, that's not something that she was used to.
Yeah.
But it was something she had to become accustomed to, though, right?
Yes. 100 days ago, you was not touching her feet. But, she's been gentle from day one, so to speak. She wanted attention. She was ready to give somebody, the time of day. She was very willing. She was, everybody couldn't believe how fast I was moving along with her. And it was all because of her. She just wanted, she's like, okay, I'm ready to be domesticated. And it was kind of amazing, actually, because I've seen horses come in the barn, because I've dealt with Mustangs for a while now, that it takes, 3 or 4 months just to even say, hey, I'm going to be okay, for them to even make the first touch. But, this horse was ready to be domesticated.
Well, it takes a lot of trust on their side.
Oh, yeah.
Because, what people, when people see horses running away or, and they laugh, that's fight or flight is an animal's thing. And with horses, it's flight. I'm gone. I'll see you later. That's their defense mechanism. And for them to want to stay and create that relationship with someone, and, it's got to be a partnership or it's just not going to work. It's as much a partnership for her as it is for you.
Oh, yeah. The main thing in the Mustang is building trust. If you don't have any trust, you'll never get anywhere. If you try to manhandle them or cowboy them, it's all about your horsemanship. And, horsemanship speaks volumes in the Mustang industry. If you don't give them an opportunity, they won't give you anything back.
Well, and that's another thing I want to clear up with everybody. One of the things I love about the Mustang industry is that it's not, where the old cowboy movies where they get on them and they buck them out within, they've made 10 laps around their arena and woo, she's broke. No, that's not the way that it is. And you don't go about it in that way. You don't just jump on until she decides to stop bucking and say she's done. This horse is gentled, and it's a partnership that's built over time, and anything from picking up their feet to letting them be, I'm going to let her brush me today. I'm not going to like it, but I'm going to let her do it because she seems to get a kick out of it, and I get hay for it. So okay,
yeah.
But some of them in mares too, man. You stack the deck on difficulty sometimes because geldings are normally known for being a lot easier than what a mare is. A mare can be moody. And now I'm a woman, so I can say that. But, mares can be, they can be moody now.
Yes, their attitude. She's not been super marish. She acts more like a gelding, thank goodness, because, that's kind of in my favor there. The only time I've really ever seen her act like a mare is, when I turn her out with another gelding, they kind of establish dominance real quick and then it's over. But she doesn't go out and pick fights or nothing like that. She's pretty calm.
Oh, she's beautiful. Beautiful. Tell everybody what color she is and all that stuff.
Well, they have her down as a buckskin, but I would call her a dun, a lineback dun. Of course, there's many colors of dun, but she's just, the regular dun in my opinion. Buckskin dun is kind of what they was going for, I think, but...
well, and don't get me wrong, when we think of buckskin, or at least I do, I think of the old movie, The Man from Snowy River, the famous buckskin, running down the hill and the mountains and everything. That's what we think of buckskin.
Right.
And this is more of a reddish color, right?
Yeah, as far as, she does have a dorsal stripe and she has leg barring, she has a black mane and tail, but her color, that's what makes her dun. She's not like a buttermilk buckskin, she has those dun traits all over her, so that's why I consider her just a dun.
Okay, well, after we get our manicure or our pedicure, I guess it's not a manicure, it's a pedicure, and then we get all checked up and we're good to go. So you bring her back to the barn. Was there any time that you looked at her and go, what was I thinking? Was there any moment where you're like, no, this is what the time when, everybody else goes home and it's just you and Rain, and you look at her and go, oh, why did I do that?
Yeah, that actually didn't happen until about, a month in. We had already started riding her, and she was doing perfect, and then she kind of just had this setback. And, of course, she hadn't really been hard to begin with, and I knew there was a hole somewhere. And my horsemanship skills was not, 100%, so, but I could just tell, I could feel that I was missing something. And then it finally come up, it finally showed up one day.
Oh, I bet it did.
Yep. It finally showed up. And it wasn't horrible. She wasn't out to kill us. I just knew that if I was going to show her at a future date, it had to be taken care of. So we kind of went back to ground basics. And it really made me scratch my head quite a bit. What can I do to, prepare this horse and let her know that it's going to be okay. So we went, when I say back to basics, we went all the way back to the round pen.
And that's where it starts, really.
Yeah. And keep in mind, I had been riding this horse for 2 weeks with not a shadow of a doubt that, we was just going to push on along. She had other ideas. As far as, I called a bunch of people, I asked for help because I didn't know. I consider myself as a trainer, but I'm a firm believer in you can learn something from everybody. And this was new to me. This was my first time dealing, with a 100-day Mustang. And I knew I had a time limit, so I wasn't afraid to reach out to help. And I'm encouraging everybody that does get a Mustang and need help, please reach out to somebody. Reach out to me. There's a girl in Eddyville. Her name's Dominique Wood. Reach out to her. There's a girl in Mumfordsville, Kentucky. Reach out to her. They've done it for years.
Well, and I think one of the things, really and truly, how I've always heard it is gauging horsemanship in a person that's really a good trainer. They have to have the ability to say, I'm stuck. I don't know. I need help, because I don't think anybody ever knows. Every horse is different.
Oh, what?
So, I mean, nobody can tell. There is no playbook that says, okay, you do this for an hour, then you go do this. It's not that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they test you, and, domesticated horses, you can kind of push, on them a little bit and find their holes, and typically they give up. These Mustangs, if they're missing something, you have to ask them to give up, not demand it. And that was something, that, a domesticated horse, you can typically talk them out of it. Hey, this is not a good idea. With the Mustang, if they're scared or they're nervous and don't trust, they don't know any better. So they're going to fight until they're done.
And when you say domesticated horses, we're talking about, saddlebred horses, mm-hmm. and, even a thoroughbred, things like that, quarter horses. Those are the horses that you see most time that you think about. Those are the domesticated. They're born in a nice little barn.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
With their water trough and their pretty little alfalfa hay. Mm-hmm. And that's domesticated horses.
Yes.
And that's a whole nother mentality.
Yes. Because, these Mustangs are out there fighting for their lives every day, every second of every day. They're having to go search for food and water. They're having to go, fend off other horses and herds and stuff from taking over their spot that they've claimed already. I mean, it's not easy for them. And when they come into these holding facilities, that's still in their brain until you can, talk them out of it otherwise,
Well, when you're living, out in the middle of nowhere by yourself and you're used to everything but you being a predator, to her, she's like, well, wait a minute. Now I have to learn to trust the coyote, mm-hmm. because, to you, that's kind of the way it is. You have to learn how to trust something that, everybody's always told you to be scared of. And now, this person suddenly feeding me. I mean, I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah, that's one thing that they have to get used to is they, like your domesticated horses will come straight to grain. These guys, it could take, a few days, a few months.
Well, and you have to do it slow, too.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
You can't make that transition from, living off of the basics out in the middle of nowhere, what they can find, to fancy feed and, high cal hay and all of that kind of stuff. You've got to transition them, right?
Yeah. I mean, they don't know. It's foreign to them. They're afraid, if it's foreign to them, they're like, this is probably going to kill me, so I'd rather
right.
not. And she was actually pretty good about it. She kind of took to it, 2 or 3 days after coming in. But as far as, some other horses, they could be 100-day horses and never touch grain.
Even a water tank, it can be foreign, to a horse like that. And I will say, I used to hear the old timers say, don't ever get a young one and try to do this 2 and 3 year old thing. You need something that's got some common sense.
Yeah.
And that would be about the age, because I've also heard horse trainers say that about the age of 6 is when they really start thinking instead of just reacting.
Well, I would say that is probably, I like to start young horses, 3-4-year-old horses. 2 years, it's kind of iffy depending on, the size and the weight of the 2-year-old. But as far as, if I was going to pick a Mustang, dang Skippy wouldn't have been 6-year-old.
I don't think so either.
It would have been a 3 or 4-year-old.
When I say trainers, we're talking about domesticated horses. Yeah. I'm not talking about taking a 6-year-old Mustang at all. That's the best case scenario. No,
yeah.
It's not, because now you've had 6 years of me being a predator. Mm-hmm. No, I don't want that.
Yeah.
But for a domesticated horse, that's what the old timers. In the theories of, even when we're talking about theories, that it's like its own little world, because the way that training used to go in the horse world, mm-hmm. and the way that they do it now, it's like night and day different.
Oh, yeah.
And it's focused more on training and trust than it is, you're going to do what I say because I said so.
For sure. Yes. The training has evolved so much, and, there's millions of different ways that you can train a horse nowadays. Me, I'm not a cowboy. I don't like to ride one till the buck's gone. That's not me. I would much rather that animal trust me and, everything's going to be all right, and it never buck a day in its life.
It's between trust and fear.
Right.
I mean, that's what the difference is, right?
Right.
To be honest, I mean, that's the difference in the training.
Yeah, and I mean, some of it is, you can get all that from the ground. You can steer them, you can stop them, you can do all that from the ground before even getting on their backs, and that just help that horse out. I mean, 10,000%. I mean, when you get on, this horse already knows how to steer, already knows how to back, it already knows how to walk forward, it already knows how to turn each direction, and I mean that just I feel like it makes my life as a horse trainer 10,000 times easier. And when I'm asking that horse to move out, it already knows. So it's just like, oh, well, you're just doing it from up there instead of on the ground.
I got to ask, though, what possessed you to wake up one morning and say, you know what? I think I would like to put myself through one of the most stressful, potentially painful experiences I could possibly. Well, what could I do? I know. I'll go get a 6-year-old wild Mustang and try to train it in 100 days.
Well,
and not get killed in the process.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that, Dominique she's been a friend and a boarder and a client of mine for a long time. And she's pushed every year. And I kept telling myself, I really don't have the time. 100 days with the farm I have, trying to take care of everything, I just really don't have time. And then finally, it just seemed like 2020 was my year. And unfortunately, I didn't even get to go show. I had to, tape it all at home and send it in. But I think that was a sign, it's time for you to, stretch your horizons. He was saying, you can do this, there's no reason you can't.
Who learned more, you or Rain?
Oh, I for sure did. I for sure did. She was so, she was awesome. Just took everything in stride. I was scratching my head trying to figure out how to teach her these things. So you can only imagine the stuff I put her through trying to figure it out. And she was a saint. I mean, she just took everything in stride. She trusted me 100%. I don't really know what you're asking, Mom, but I guess I'll try to do, I had a vision of how I was going to ask, and then at the end of the day, it just wasn't working out.
Best laid plans, huh?
Yeah. I mean, the trick training that I've done on her, I'd never done a day in my life. And that was all through trial and error, bless her heart. I feel so sorry for her, but we managed to get it done, and she understands me, and I understand her now.
So she took you to the show, is what was going to happen.
For sure. For sure.
So 100 days, what do you have to teach them? What in this 100-day challenge, what all do they have to know at the end of the day?
Well, the 100-day challenge is actually when you, as a horse trainer, you kind of step back and look at it. That's it? That's all we have to do? Well, now that I've been into it and in it, you're not taking a domesticated horse and having, you have to physically, put a halter on this horse. If you don't do it in the chutes when they load the trailer, which I did, I cheated. Or you could, and they have to be able to trust you. You have to be able to brush them. You have to be able to, saddle them up. And if you can't touch them,
Well, first you have to walk up to them before you can do any of that. And sometimes, I mean, I don't know about your house, but at my house, a domesticated horse would like to stand on the other side of the field and go,
Yeah.
Really? You think so, do you?
Yeah.
Where's my feed? I mean, that's the way they do at my house. So, and I'm assuming that there's not much difference.
Yeah. Thank goodness that, I was blessed with the facility that I have. So, I was able to set up an alleyway from, a stall to a round pen, to where she didn't have no option to kind of run away from me and stay away. And she was very inquisitive. Like I said, that first session, I brought her home at 5:00 that day, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try it. 9:00 that night, I whipped her out of her stall. Not really whipped her, I was kind of pressured her out of her stall. And she come running out, she's like, bah! And within 2 minutes of me just kind of staying in with the round pen, moving her feet a little bit, she had already faced up and was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I will try to touch you. And I gave her the opportunity. And that first session at 9:00, I picked her up that Friday at 5:00. And at 9:00 that night, she had already come up and touched me.
Wow. Because they're like, I really don't want to do this, but if this will make you leave me alone, just do it and get it over with. Go home.
Like I said,
if that's going to make you go away, then go ahead.
Yeah, she was ready to be domesticated for sure. You know, I mean, it took some people in this competition this year, you know, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks before they could get the first touch.
Yeah.
And some of them it took 2 or 3 months.
Well, and then at the end of the day, you're on them doing a whole program by the end of the time, which this year you had to videotape, right?
Yes. Typically, what we would do in our first class, it's called handling and conditioning. So typically, that first one, I mean, horse trainers, I mean, seriously, they look at it like, this is nothing. You turn them loose in a round pen, you step out for 30 seconds, go back and catch them. Then you lead them to a barrel, brush them off, put the brush back on the barrel, and trot in hand to the next barrel, stop, back up, pick up all 4 feet, and then go load in the trailer. That's your first class. And you're like, that is so simple. But now looking back at it, that really wasn't that simple. Of course, it was changed.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. Yeah. For a lot of us, see, the joke is when you get the horse in, somebody goes, close the gate, close the gate, close the gate. That's like normal for a lot of us. That's them wanting to go on the trailer. That's not normal.
No.
Especially not at the beginning.
Yeah. Typically, you know, that's how these horses are moved back and forth, as trailers and the buddy system. They just kind of all cram pile in there. But typically what gets them is foreign trailers, a trailer they've never been in before.
Well, and they're alone, too.
Yeah. And, you know, the show atmosphere, you're dressed different. They can tell that, you know. You're nervous, they know. But unfortunately, we didn't get to do any of that. The only thing we did was we did more of a showmanship pattern for our in-hand this time. Since it was virtual, we wasn't allowed to use any trailers. It was literally cones, halter, and lead rope for that class.
So how did you end up? I mean, at the end of this 100 days, how did you end up?
I ended up 7th overall.
Wow.
My goal, I had a couple goals. My goal was to make top 10, and she did that for me. I ended up 8th in the top 10, and then our freestyle put us one more, which they wouldn't pull your freestyle unless you made it to the top 10. So that was one of my goals. And everybody kept telling me I had a top 10 horse, but of course I didn't know what everybody else had, you know.
Right.
And of course that spurt we went through kind of midway, you know, I was really doubting myself. I never doubted her. It was my ability to get her there, you know, to guide her there. And it all kind of worked out, and we finished 7th overall.
And that's out of how many entries, though?
Well, there was 100 of us that picked up. And then after it went virtual.
And when you say picked up, that means we went and got the horse.
Yes.
There's 100 of them.
Yes.
And that's nationwide.
Yes.
That went and picked up the Mustangs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, they had 2 pickup locations, one in Murray and one in Ohio. So, I mean, they had people from California, Texas, you know, New Jersey. I mean, they was just spread out all over. And we ended up, you know, I was really, really nervous because a lot of these people, I mean, this is what they do. You know, they're seasoned. They know what the judges are looking for.
Well, there's whole television series on following some people doing that. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you were top 10 amongst this kind of competition and that kind of talent is remarkable. It really is.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I was blessed with a good horse for sure. My draw was amazing. And yeah, like I said, some people, they had to draw out because their horses just wasn't 100 days. So, but they ended up, only 25 of us made it to actual submitting videos. Like I said, this was a tough group of horses. You know, I highly recommend if you go and look at Mustangs, you know, definitely look at the ages. The older they are, you know, they can be a little more leery, take more time. If you have that time, by all means, get you an older horse and spend time with it. But if you're, you know, this is not going to be no, you know, month into it, these horses are going to be riding around.
Well, this is not, you know, kid-friendly horses when you get them home either. No. You need to be realistic about that, too. Because there's a lot of people that'll say, oh, I've got kids, they want a horse. No, that's not... This is not, you know, Sally, go and pet the horse and get on it and ride it around the yard, you know, immediately. That's not what this is.
Yeah, well, and there is, you know, other options. If you want a Mustang, they have what they call tip people. And I myself, I'm certified to be a tip trainer. And basically my job is to gentle the horse. I'll get all that hard stuff out. I'll be able to pick up their feet. I'll be able to lead them. I'll be able to load them. I'll be able to brush them. And then, you come purchase that horse from the Mustang Heritage Foundation at $125. And then you get, a gentled Mustang to where you can go wherever you want to with. You can either, choose to keep them where I'm at and, let me kind of finish them out, so to speak, or you can send them somewhere else. But you're not having to sit here and do, 30-minute mini sessions, for 3 days straight.
Right.
Just to kind of get in their head that we're not here to push you around. We're here to kind of join up with you. Let me get that done for you.
Where does Rain go from here? Where, now that you've gotten 7th and now that you're best buds, and by the way, at the end of the day, I don't want to forget about that. At the end of all of this, there's an auction.
Yes.
And now explain that auction.
Yes. Well, typically, if we show, if I was to go to Lexington and I showed, my horse has to go through the auction. So they kept the same rules as it being virtual. If you show, your horse is going to auction. Now, we have the opportunity to buy back. How they do that is a 60-40 split. The virtual was a 60-40 split. Okay. Typically, it's a 50-50. But since we put in all the effort, the Mustang Heritage Foundation, along with the Extreme Mustang Makeover Foundation, they decided to give us trainers a little more.
You got a discount.
Yeah. So we took that, and then that was another goal that I was going to hit, that I wanted to hit, was I wanted my horse to be a high seller. And she did just that. I had a great videographer that got an awesome sell video of her, and that really portrayed that horse's, attitude and just overall, ability to be trainable.
Right.
And I'm very thankful for her. But they all have to go through auction. The price ranges always vary. Every time we do this, every time we go through these 100-day Mustang makeovers, most people know what they're getting. These are 100-day Mustangs. Even though they're riding around one-handed, that doesn't mean go throw your child on it.
Well, it doesn't mean go throw it in a barn in a year. Don't touch it for a year. And it's just going to be that way when you go back. No.
Yeah, you can't do that either. You kind of have to. I'm not saying that a year from now, I would probably, throw a child on her. And I'm not saying that I'm going to be, super consistent with her. Right now she's getting a break. She's just been turned out, letting her kind of eat grass, bring up at night. I think
she's earned a little break. She's done good.
Fly sprayed every morning, because she can't stand flies. When it comes to flies, she's a sissy.
Oh, well, we didn't say that. By the way, she bought her back.
Yeah.
So
I did.
Rain gets to stay with you at Freedom Farms, and that's I think that's amazing. I love a good, I don't know, I guess it's a good love story, because that horse becomes your partner and your best friend, and she's with you for 20 years, and that through some of the best parts and worst parts of your life, a horse can be therapy when there is none other. And that I've seen my little boy, he's special needs, and when he first got on one, we'd have to kind of hold him up there, because he was so sideways and everything. And now, oh no, he rides that horse, and all we have to do is have a lead rope and lead him. It can be such good therapy for people with horses, and that's one of those things that I really wish people would look into more often. When they do look into therapy, because animals in general, I think, are just, they're good for the soul.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't do a whole lot of special needs kids, just because of insurance purposes. Not that
right.
It's
not for everybody. It's something that's very specific and it's not the easiest thing to do either, because they've got their own mind.
Right.
But one of the my goodness, it's home.
Get ready for back to school with Health First Community Health Center. offering immunizations, physicals, ADHD treatment, and sick child visits. At Health First, we offer affordable quality health care for the entire family. Call us to make your appointment today at 877-667-7017. That's 1-877-667-7017. Walk-ins are welcome. All children receiving back-to-school services will be entered to win a backpack full of school supplies. At Health First, your health is our first concern.
It's time to vote for your favorites in the YourSportsEdge.com Fan Faves, presented by First Financial Bank. Go to YourSportsEdge.com to cast your vote today in over 20 categories. Hurry, voting ends July 12th.
Enter your cutest kid photo in the Cutest Kid Photo Contest at WPKYOnline.com. One winner will win a $75 prize pack from Gracious Me, Main Street Pharmacy, and Hancock's Neighborhood Market. Enter today. Contest ends July 19th.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's here. The Loyal Listener Big Deal Store is online and waiting for you to shop and buy gift certificates to local businesses. Go to WPKYOnline.com. Click on Loyal Listener Big Deals. Here you'll find dozens and dozens of gift certificates. Some you'll even be able to redeem from your smartphone. Shop and buy 24 hours a day and save a ton of money in the process. Save on oil changes, dining out, haircuts, car washes, and more. Our store never closes, but you better hurry. You never know how long each deal will last.
1580 103.3 WPKY. And of course, we're talking today with Marley Oliver, of course, about the 100-day Mustang Challenge. And I needed to take a break there just for just a second to pay some bills, as it were. But, you know, one of the things that I really wanted to ask before Marley got out of here is, you know, what is next for Rain? What's on what is she going to grow up to be now that she's finished nationwide, and now she's got all these accolades? What's next for her?
Well, I don't think she's going to be athletic enough to chase barrels. Unfortunately, that's kind of what I do. Is I do barrel horses, but I would like to get into some ranch riding with her. Just get her a little more broke. Maybe even turn some steers on her. Push some cattle. Just do all kinds of silly things like that. Trail rider. I guarantee she's going to be a solid trail mount. I mean,
has she been to Wrangler yet?
Oh yeah, she's well.
Has she gotten a blue hole yet? That's what I want to know.
I take that back. About the time we got COVID shut everything down, so we didn't go to Wranglers, but we've been to Shawnee.
Now that's beautiful
and
riding.
We've been to Pennyrile. Of course, Wranglers.
And Pennyrile has got some challenging areas over there, too.
Yeah. I was scared to death of a bridge, but she took it, just like it was nothing. I mean, it was great to feel that, She trusted me, I asked her to go over it. And then, of course, when I first heard the sound, I jumped and kind of wiggled in my saddle a little bit. And she's just like...
It's that pucker moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was just like... I don't know what your problem is, but...
What are you all nervous about? I'm the one that's walking across it. You're just sitting there. Well, and that's kind of funny, too, because if you're not familiar with horses, something that gives under their feet or something where they can see a little bit of air in between those boards or, even water. If they can't see in that water, they're like, no. It can take them a while because there are some horses that they do not do water. I mean, they're like cats or no, and then some of them love it. So is she like a fish, or is she going to be one of those that say, I don't think so?
Oh no! Every time I took her out on a trail ride, she barreled into everything I asked her to. No hesitation, just went on about her day.
And that's a Mustang kind of way, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it was amazing. Like, here I am with these domesticated horses fighting to get them to go over a log, and she just, barreled through it like a bulldozer. Just.
I'm not going to lie. I had I'm going to tattle on one of my horses. Sweetest little thing, Icelandic horse that you've ever met. I loved him. He was one of God bless him, he passed away when he was 32, believe it or not.
Wow.
And he was amazing. Of course, they're known for living really long, but he was so good at everything. You could point him anywhere, but if you put him around a speed bump at Wrangler in the parking lot, he didn't know what to do with it. And these are little bitty speed bumps. These are not big, gigantic speed bumps. These are little bitty, and he would stop dead in his tracks and just look at it and go, "Oh, I don't think so." And you would literally, you could sit there for an hour and he was not going to move. You would have to go to the side of the road, go around the speed bump, and go back on. And that's the only thing he had, but that was his thing. That was his one thing, was a speed bump. Mm-hmm. So, I think they've all got, does she have that one thing that it just, no matter what, no matter how many times, she's just like, I'll do it, but I'm really not going to be happy about it. Or she goes, look, I'm not going to throw a fit, but I'm just not going to do it. How about that?
Well, I'm sure it's there. I haven't found it yet. Anything I've asked her to do, she's done it, in stride. Everything I've introduced her to, new. My freestyle stuff, she'd never seen those obstacles before. And when she come out, she raised her head and kind of perked her ears up. I knew it was new, but she's like, all right.
See, I love that. And that's a Mustang thing.
Yeah.
It's so, because, they don't know the word no, not really. They're like, look, we're just going to go do things. I get to hang out with Mom.
Yeah.
She's just glad to be there.
Yeah.
And the domesticated horses are like, man, now I got to go work. What? They're kind of high maintenance versus what a Mustang is in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah. A Mustang wants to work. They will work for you. Granted, they may not get it done quick, fast, in a hurry, but they will be there and they will be under you all day long.
They're ready to go. They're like, look, where are we going, Mom? Let's go. Yeah, where are we going shopping? What are we doing? They're ready to go.
Natural workhorses. And as far as health issues, there's hardly any there. They've been so exposed and so immune to everything, Feet-wise, her feet were a little bad, but I got her on some good feed and some good supplements, and I ain't had an issue with her feet. Her feet's hardened right up, which typically, if she was in the wild, a foot is make or break. If you're lame, you ain't keeping up.
Right.
So
or you're wolf food.
Yeah.
That's just the way that it is.
Yeah. So they kind of push through that pain. You'll hardly ever see a Mustang in pain unless it's extraordinary.
Well, bless your heart, Marley. Hang on just a second. We're going to be right back with Miss Marley and Rain, and we're going to wrap it up. And if you're looking for someone to help you out with your horse, or if you've got questions, she's a fantastic lady to get a hold of. So hang out just a few more minutes. We're going to wrap it up with her and tell you how Marley maybe can help you. And we're going to root her all the way to Texas and hope that happens for her. We'll tell you more about that next on PKY.
Hi, this is Maggie Gammon with the Cat's Tail Used Books. And I hope you'll join me in staging the greatest comeback of all time.
Your home team at Trice Hughes wants to make sure your vehicle lasts as long as possible, especially since warmer weather means more driving. Trice Hughes reminds you that tire pressure is critical to maximizing the performance of your vehicle. From improved fuel mileage to smoother tire wear, make sure your tires are inflated to the correct PSI.
Trice Hughes is here for you and any questions you may have about your vehicle. Buy your next vehicle from the home team. Find them on Highway 91 North, Princeton, or at tricehughes.com.
Need cash fast? ABC Finance is open with social distancing implementations in place. They believe it's more important now than ever to get a handle on your finances.
Hi, this is Jody Lamb at the Princeton ABC Finance location.
And this is Todd Morse at the Hopkinsville location.
At ABC Finance, we don't just provide loans, but we also provide valuable advice to help you get your credit in better standing.
Our friendly team of professionals has your best interest in mind. We celebrate with you when your finances improve.
We encourage you to like our Facebook page, ABC Finance Company. Many of those useful tips are posted daily on our page, including tons of community info and motivation for the day.
To view social distancing guidelines and safety measures, like and follow ABC Finance Company on Facebook. ABC Finance is located off Fort Campbell Boulevard in Hopkinsville next to O'Charlie's, then Princeton and the Princeton Plaza. Apply for loans online or simply give them a call. They'll take your application over the phone. ABC Finance, all loans subject to normal credit approval.
1580 103.3 WPKY. Of course, we're on with Marley Oliver this morning and talking about kind of what's next and what you would like to see.
Youth competition, and it's all in hand. And I've been trying to get me a little gathering of youth girls, or boys, to to do this with me, and I want to take them and to place these Mustangs in home to help that, and show them that not everything's just handed to you. You have to work for it as far as the horse industry.
Oh, it's
goes.
sweeter when you work for it.
Yeah. And it would tickle me to death to get some youth, and it's all in hand. I'm willing to step in and help 100% of the way. So if anybody, it's just $25 to get a Mustang. They're all yearlings, and you go show. It's all in hand. And I'd really like to see some youth come out of my barn, with the Mustangs and go show.
Well, we're proud of you, girl.
Thank you.
We are proud of you, And I cannot wait to see you go to Texas, because I think that's where you're going.
I hope so.
I think that's where you're going, and we're going to turn on the TV and see Miss Marley.
Yeah, I really hope so. It's kind of opened my eyes, and it's expanded my horsemanship. So I'm willing to give it another shot, even though I might be stretching it a little bit going all the way down Texas.
Well, give Miss Rain an apple cube for us, will you?
Oh, most definitely, I will. Yeah, she might have to stay in the barn today. She doesn't like getting wet.
Well, I don't blame her. My days, it's 6 years. If I was her and I said, you know what? I've spent enough days wet and out in it. I think I'm going to stay in my nice, pretty barn for now. I think she's earned that, too.
Yeah, she enjoys the barn time. And if I don't spray with fly spray before she goes out, she gets a little...
Say, look here, woman.
Yeah. she like, we was trying to shoot our videos, and, of course, we shot our videos outside, and I'm telling you, she would stop and reach her neck around like a giraffe.
Well, you know what? You know why, right? She said, look, when you go to Texas, I want you to know I got you there.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't forget who got you there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for... How did they get a hold of you at Freedom Farms? And, of course, don't get me wrong, Miss Marley Oliver, I'm saying that correct, right? Marley.
Yes.
I keep that L, I'm telling you, I'm trying. But Marley Oliver and Freedom Farms, and where are you located, and how did they get a hold of you? If they say, you know what, I'm good, you got me. How do I do it?
Well, I'm in Eddyville, right across from Cole Lumber, right off 62. I'm sure everybody knows it. It's a big horse farm with the white fence. Maybe 10 minutes from Princeton, 10 minutes from Fredonia. And my number is 1270-625-8638.
Well, thank you so much, Marley, for being with us. And, of course, Rain, because we couldn't have a show without Rain as far as that goes. But, of course, they're going to be with us again coming up in another couple of weeks. We're going to talk high school rodeo and Little Britches and that sort of thing. We've got some pretty famous as far as in the world of high school rodeo and Little Britches and that sort of scenario. We've got Jake Scheidler. We've got some names in the area that are really doing big things. So we want to make sure that we give those kids kudos, because that's one of those things. It's 365 days a year. It doesn't stop just because the weather's bad or there's a pandemic going. That's got to continue every single day. So we're so proud of all of them and all their accomplishments. And hopefully you can join us next time when we check in with her and a few others in the area for the rodeo. Anyway, come on back and see us tomorrow. Of course, we got the extension office coming in, as well as maybe a surprise guest. Have you been watching Alone? Did you know that we've got a guy locally that's on there right from Sturgis, Kentucky, right down the road, right over there in Union County, kind of next door. Not very far anyway. Keith, we're going to try to talk to him and kind of see. I know that maybe he didn't have the greatest week, but we're gonna talk to him and kind of pull the curtain behind the Wizard of Oz and see what that's really like and maybe who he's rooting on at this point. Anyway, it'll be kind of neat. So come on back and join us with Coffee Talk, and of course Todd will be in on Thursday. We got a full week, and of course DQ. Starting bright and early during the 6 o'clock hours when we're going to put the question online. And then we'll also have it on the phones during the 7 o'clock hour. Don't forget to get your birthdays in. You can win that way, too. So we're going to have a lot of fun. So join us. And then, of course, Audrey Lamb is coming up here in just a little bit with your news and your weather. And Todd will be here with sports. So you don't want to miss any of it. It's 1580, 103.3 WPKY. One last time, your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast calling for hot hot, humid. Heat index could reach over 100, even though it's only getting up to about 92. I know, only, huh? Heat index could reach 102 very quickly by this afternoon. Overnight low only down to 72, but that feels like heaven compared to that heat index. Isolated scattered storms tomorrow and Thursday, mainly in the afternoon, evening time, right there around supper, Friday through Sunday. Of course, you've got a mixed bag of thunderstorms and showers off and on all weekend as well. That heat index is going to push over 100 degrees each afternoon from now all the way through Friday and then extend through the weekend. So you just need to make sure you take water wherever you go. It is 80 at 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Raider Auction Company. Serving Caldwell County since 1950. We're 1580, 103.3 WPKY Princeton. Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Herb Hayes Furniture.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. 32 states are reporting more coronavirus cases, and the weekly average in the U.S. is up 28 days in a row now.
The nation is still knee-deep in the first wave of coronavirus. That from Dr. Anthony Fauci with the National Institutes of Health.
It's a serious